Okay, want to choose the interview?
This is our interview with Forca Macabra. I was so intrigued to get the backstory on this crazy blend. What great guys, and I'm so glad to see that they are working on new music as we speak in the studio, putting it together. So I can't wait for more from this dynamic group.
Wait till we get to the part where they talk about when they actually get to Brazil. You'll learn a lot about the Brazilian metal scene. Yeah. Anyway, so check it out.
I'm Otto Itkonen, one of the two Ottos in this band. I play the drums.
Two Ottos don't make a right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We've seen it a lot of times. That's a good one. I don't know if I don't know if we have heard that yet. Two Ottos don't make a right. True.
Well, thanks for, and it was kind of short notice too, so it's great to have both of you on the interview. It's great. So,
Sure.
I guess we should start off with the obvious question, which is, what was the catalyst that made a band from Finland want to create a tribute to Brazilian hardcore and thrash? You know, like who came up with the idea, and did you think it would last this long?
Well, I can say that I would never have thought about it, that this band would be still going on after decades. What's that, 35 years almost, is it? Yeah. But, well, the idea, I suppose it was our mutual love for a Brazilian 80s hardcore punk and thrashcore. As simple as that. But, well, there's more to that. I don't know if Otto can put some more flesh on that story. I'm a bit confused right now, to be honest. I'm just having my dinner and I've been super busy the whole day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think me and Otto, we got to know each other in 1990, or yeah, that must have been
1990. Yeah.
Then we started to do this thing like tape trading and stuff, and we found out that both we liked pretty much Brazilian hardcore punk. Then maybe a year later, you suggested maybe we should try to do a band like that. And here we are.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
So in the beginning, did anybody know how to speak Portuguese, or did you have to start from scratch? Oh my gosh.
How did you learn the language? Like how did you do it?
I had one Portuguese English dictionary that my friend's mother gave to me. Then I had some records that had lyrics, even some, like the Lobotomia first LP had lyrics in English and Portuguese. So I had something, but that was nothing.
Yeah, and we knew just a couple of phrases, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you knew some friends. Google Translate to help you.
Right. He didn't have anything like that.
Yeah, well, we had some tape trading pals in Portugal and in Brazil. And I suppose first yank we got from first time we were helped by this guy called Chico from a band of Atrofiados and later Atentado. And he was the vocalist of the band and a pen pal, tape trading pal of mine. And I think I probably sent him in a letter the lyrics that we have written with with this kind of humble suggestion that if there are some mistakes, would you please correct? And he was like, bloody hell. That was a total mess, guys. So he just sent us an audio tape where he had rewritten and and vocalized, like he was speaking the lyrics like with this really thick Portuguese accent, speaking the lyrics on the tape, and we were just trying to make something out of it. And well,
and we have to remember that it was the era of snail mail. So meanwhile, this was in the making, the lyrics and translations and the guidance. Meanwhile, we went into studio and made the demo tapes and records and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's true. Those were made with our original lyrics. Like
It's like it's not hard enough to write an album. To write an album in a language that you're just learning, that's got to be so difficult,
It is.
Yeah.
So, what was your kind of family and friends' initial reaction when they caught wind of this project? Were they like supportive? Were they like, "What? What?"
Well, I think it was more or less obvious thing because I was already like playing in a band and playing hardcore, and so what if I make Brazilian hardcore? It's no big deal, you know.
Yeah.
That was going on.
Yeah, I don't think we thought it would be anything that special. We knew it, it was kind of something a little bit unique, but not that kind of a special thing that would, raise eyebrows even decades later. That whoa, how can you guys do that and so forth. And well, as for our families, I don't know if there was any support from them. I don't know if they had any idea if my bands were playing what kind of music. They just knew that I was making some noise.
Gotcha.
And that's that. But my family was always supportive for my musical hobby, for my musical interests. That's for sure.
We've come to learn that bands from Finland, the metal and hardcore is very supported in that, over where you guys are, as opposed to other parts of the world where it might be like, oh yeah, but what's your day job, kind of thing.
Well,
I suppose.
Yeah.
Perhaps more so
what's your
today.
day job? You need one. You need one.
I hear you. Yeah.
So, where did the band's name come from? It looks like it loosely translated into Macabra gallows.
Well,
it came from the Brazilian band called Scarnio.
Oh.
That was on this compilation LP AquO's
Contra-Ataque.
Yes, and they have this song where they sing Forza Macabra, Forza Sinistra.
Okay.
Then it came from there.
Very
It took a while to decide, is it Forza Sinistra or Forza Macabra, but I think it's a good name.
I almost forgot that part. But both of those names would have been cool.
Yeah.
It sounds really, really awesome still today, hearing those lines, the Forza Sinistra, Forza Macabra,
Yeah.
sung by Mauro of Scarnio.
That was a great bio that you wrote on, was that Indecent Extreme or whatever that you did for that festival that you were playing at? I had to have you, I just had to have you confirm it, because sometimes we'll stumble across something like that and it's like got all bad information written by someone else, So when you said I wrote it, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
This will help us with the interview,
Yeah. In fact, I remember I decided to write it because Mr. Itkonen, he used to write all the stuff, like he wrote libraries of historics and interviews. So now it's my turn to take care of that. And I think that's the most recent history of Forza Macabra. Some happened even after that, because we are now again Fees band. Our bass player turned, and we are now, since that, we are again 5-piece.
Oh, so you're going with two guitars
It's been
now?
a while.
Yeah.
It's great. I loved when you wrote about when the second guitar player joined and you were compared to a shitty version of Slayer, and you said, we love that. That's a great comparison.
Yes.
It was hysterical, yeah. And then after I read that, I went back and I listened to AquO Inferno and that intro. That I'm like, this sounds like Hell Awaits, the intro to Hell Awaits, totally, so I could see it,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
That's a compliment, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell Awaits, that's my favorite Slayer.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Hell Awaits is totally mine. I actually have a Hell Awaits tattoo. So yeah.
That's the first one you heard, and
yeah.
It is truly amazing how the lineup has stayed so consistent over so many years, except for the bass player. That's been about the only movable piece. What do you credit to being able to, stick together and not have all these lineup changes? Is it is it cohesiveness? Is it that you guys are friends? What's the secret?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel that I've been blessed. I've been very lucky, that is, to have such a fantastic bandmates. And that's the thing. That's how I see it. It's just that we get along with each other well enough. Plus, of course, we have had our disagreements, but it's just life. The band's been going on always there somehow, like
it seems
together
like
together with us.
Yes, it seems like a lot of bands, especially in the underground, might get to where everybody's in their late 20s, and that's always kind of the era where you're saying, so and so is thinking about getting married, and what are we really doing here, and that sort of thing. Like and you guys survive that. I mean, obviously, with very minimal lineup changes.
Yeah, there was a point when we used to play quite a lot, and maybe life on the road was more chaotic, but also I think that we haven't pushed ourselves too much. We take our time if we need to something. Nobody would care if we made like 15 LPs. We have maybe 3 or 4.
Right.
We
do it at our own pace.
Yeah, that's for sure a very important part of surviving that long with the same guys.
The patience.
Just take it easy.
Patience.
Give each other time and space, and
yeah, it looks like the biggest changes that you've had have been labels. You've been on Genet, Mind Control, Agpunk. What are kind of your best and worst label experiences? Because I've heard some good and some bad as far as getting support or
whatever, distribution
or just bad management.
I can't think immediately on the top of my head any really bad experiences as such. Of course, there might have been some mishaps here and there, but what the hell? That too is life. So, I mean, I don't know. Can you, Otto, remember some good experiences on the other hand, maybe? Those I remember well. Yeah.
Well, some guys of the labels have been really helpful at certain times, like Bruno from Genet Records, who put the first LP out very quickly and supported us on the tour.
True.
Also,
It's
Martin from Mallory.
Yeah, if we start from the 90s.
Fabio from Usina de Sangue, Brazil. And some of the records they take years to come out because we take also our time with the artwork and covers and mixing and whatever.
Right.
So if it takes some time, we don't care.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised to see
so
that.
Far we are I guess we're hoping to meet one day some really super helpful label that will give us opportunities to do whatever we want. Because now everything is very limited. Everything is basically done on hobby basis.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you, I was looking at your history.
We spare what we can. We spare what we can from some pocket money or some little holidays that we can have from the work and other things in life that keep you occupied. And it's sometimes very difficult to manage between like 5 entities, 5 families, such as Forca Macabra is 5 members. It's like 5 families behind, and as you can imagine, it takes time to make things happen. Also.
Yeah, I was looking at your history. It looks like Pedro is also in Vyman Kelowna.
He was, yeah.
He was. Are they still around? I love them. I love that band. I haven't heard anything from them in ages.
I don't think they are, not anymore, because the singer Kaida, he has other bands like Keretic and Etuaste. I don't think Women and Kelowna exist anymore.
For sure, yeah, they finished.
Gotcha.
Pedro is also the maestro of Pedro Antares group, which is the band called Humiliation, which is the thrash metal band.
Okay.
Also bassista in Kuolema. Very important. Kuolema has not been doing much, but it's still around.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it looked like 3 of you were in Gymulation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I wasn't.
So when you finally, when you got to experience Brazil, was the culture there kind of what you expected, or was it different?
Different. It was less violent and less chaotic.
Ah,
We had this kind of a really like a maybe some feel well back then this information was fewer and a little. It was not available that well, so we could use our imagination what it was like with all these accidents and explosions and gunfights on the street and whatnot.
right. Okay.
But when we get there for the first time, it wasn't like that. We got robbed, but it was a different kind of situation.
That's interesting.
I think what you
Yeah,
see
that's how I felt it. I mean,
Yeah.
I was expecting something different. kind of.
I think a lot of our perceptions end up coming from movies, which aren't exactly always,
Yeah, true.
reality.
Right.
But it's funny, when I went to the USA for the first time, everything was exactly as I've seen in the movies. What the visuals.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
the underlying undertones, they are much different. They're not that kind of fabricated storyline, but what you can see, it was like, hey, well, it looks like I've been here before. It's because I've sat, so many hours in front of the screen watching all the American films, TV
Yeah.
shows, and whatnot. So yeah.
It's so funny, the different cultural stereotypes. When I was in college, my senior year, my roommate had graduated, so that you had an opportunity to have someone come from another country who basically they had an English, program.
Exchange.
Yeah, kind of an exchange.
Right.
So I got this girl from China. And when I
Right.
first came into the room, she must have laughed for 10 minutes straight. And when she finally caught her breath, because I'm about 5'2", she said she thought all American girls were tall. And she was so relieved I was like, we were the same height.
Funny. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's the stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, we recently did a feature on AquO Inferno from 2008. How did that album got picked up by Blackwater Records in the US? And it looks like that was one of your better distributed albums. How did you guys come to work with them?
Again, Keith of Blackwater, he was my pen pal to start with.
Okay.
And I can't remember which way around. If he asked me if Forca Macabra wants to do something for him or for Blackwater, or if I asked, do you want to make a US pressing of this, our next LP? Could be either way around, because we were kind of closely communicating at that time and met also rather frequently, because I went with my other band Selfish to US in 2002, I think 2001, and then rather quickly for the second time also, and he came also with his band Hellshock, and maybe some other touring bands came to Europe, so we got to meet each other, so we had time to chat these things over.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's great that you've gotten to tour the US.
But that's
guys have
basically how everything has
Right.
worked with us.
You guys have
everything.
toured. You guys have toured US and Japan. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
What was Japan like?
Well, also stereotypes and controversies, but it's a well, the Japanese are very nice people, and they take very good care of their guests. So it's a nice place to visit for sure. The shows were, I suppose, goodish, mediocre, but not terribly, horribly bad. Maybe most of the time. But we played 10 gigs, was it? Maybe.
Yeah, 9 or 10. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 10 was on the back of the T-shirt, but one was canceled. No, it was not canceled, but we couldn't make it because there was a bloody snowstorm and we got stuck on the highway in this massive traffic pile, and we had to sleep overnight in this freezing cold Toyota Hiace minivan. that was a nightmare. We were so cold, and so we got a couple of us got really like this deathly fever, and
Oh wow.
that's horrible. Getting
Yeah.
sick on the road, yeah.
Yeah,
But
funny thing
yeah.
in Japan was that you were supposed to play like 20 to 25 minutes, even only 15 minutes, if you're headlining of the punk show of 6 or 7 bands.
Yeah.
That was a blessing because we drank that much, so we could just play easily 20 minutes and that's it.
Yeah.
As opposed to Brazil, for example, where they expected from us even a set of 1 hour minimum.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, and we had never probably played 60 minutes before that. And I suppose we did it maybe once in Brasilia, the capital.
Yes.
Because there was really a big push that we they made this kind of story around it, that if we don't play, there is going to be a riot, and they will break the place and whatnot.
Wow.
If you don't play the minimum 60 minutes. Afterwards, I suppose now that I'm thinking of it, I'm pretty sure nothing would have happened, but
Yeah.
it's easy to fool you.
But your
when you
songs are
don't
only
know
like
any
2 or
better.
3 minutes long. So I mean, how many songs did you have to cram in there?
Bloody many, and most of them are quite fast too. lot of words to spit out and many
It's a
beats per
workout.
minute.
Yeah.
It's definitely workout. The
Yeah.
Brasilia
Yeah.
show I remember in particular because it was really hot, like super hot, and I was so exhausted that close to the end of the show, somebody, stage managers saw that I was struggling. He just came next to me with this kind of big plastic basket full of ice cubes, and I just like dropped myself in this, bowl of this kind of baby bath tube all full of ice,
Wow.
and I was there like, I don't know, half a minute or something, and then woke up a little bit and
Oof.
continued to the end.
Wow.
That's how crazy we was sometimes.
So you've had extreme cold and extreme hot.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but probably they were thinking I'm gonna pass out or something of the
Yeah.
exhaustion.
Guessing there was no air conditioning.
Yeah. Probably not.
It's a big place, but when the air is just very hot and stale, then it won't help you. It's close to 30 degrees, like 25 degrees, close to midnight. And,
Oh,
Yeah, you spend a day in a car and then you wait for the show like 8 hours and then you play into like 2 a.m. Then you won't get some tiredness.
The shows were very late as well in Brazil, whereas in Japan the shows are very early. The whole ordeal is easily over by like 11 p.m. From 7 p.m. till 11 p.m. bands, and then it's finished, and everybody goes home except for the bands maybe who go to celebrate.
Right.
Otto, do you remember that story from we played in Goiânia and we were again the last band like of the 6 and it was 3 a.m. and Pedro Antares, just when he had to go on stage, he passed out behind the bass amp. We have to kick him up and come on, let's play.
I don't remember that thing, but I remember the gig and the place, but I can't remember. But on the other hand, Pedro has passed out or nearly passed out on several of our shows over the years. So it's probably
On
something
4
that
continents.
I didn't pay much attention to. So like just another day in the life of a bass player. Yeah, you said on 4 continents.
I didn't touch any dials. I didn't do anything.
Oh, God, to be 3 a.m., I would be so drunk just to start with, and then I got to play for an hour. My God,
good pacing.
Yeah, I got nothing for pacing.
So I noticed at least you do have a lot of covers on. Usually you have on each, even the split. I noticed you had Lobotom's March to Die on your last split. How do you go about selecting what covers you do? Do you guys like vote, or do you have like a list in mind?
No, let's play this one. Okay, let's play that one too. Let's play it all.
It's a spur of a moment. You just get excited about something and and think, oh, bloody hell, let's do this, or let's give this a try. But I think we have played a little bit less covers these last years, haven't we?
That's true.
We do occasionally. We do play them, but not as frantically as it at one stage. It seemed like that we were transforming into a band who is just doing covers.
Yeah.
I mean,
play
because
like,
we played some
Yeah.
shows that were just dedicated for covers only. Maybe that was the joke.
or normal gig would be like 50% covers.
Mm.
But
Do you
now
have like a song that's really requested a lot that's a cover that you've done, like for a live show?
no, Most to Die is one of them. And Cabeza Metal by Salario Minimo is another anthem.
Yeah, I really like the fact that you still include some as well as, all your guys' original, which, gosh, at least it gives you a lot when you got to do these hour shows.
Yeah.
But
You guys have done a lot of
I think I'll just say this one thing, that I think it's been also our way of showing where our roots come from, and that and because we have literally like stolen a lot of stuff from Brazil, they have given us a lot, if not one to one, but we have got a lot of ideas from there. So, and we are not trying to hide that fact. It's like so we're very open, and we say like that's one of our ways to say that thank you, that thank you for the music, as ABBA said it.
Well, I was going to ask you about, you guys have done so many splits. Like, what are some of your favorites, and how do you decide if you're going to do a split with another band?
Well, that too has been like going slower and slower, releasing split records with other bands. I don't know. I guess nowadays we are more, if not picky, we are more careful, like where we invest our few few pearls that we have.
Yeah.
We don't have that much, to spread around, so we rather do fewer releases these days, like split wise. But I think it's mostly nowadays and back then too, mostly it's been like a kind of friendship projects. You meet somebody on the way, or somebody just is nice enough and approaches us. In the 90s, if you did that and asked, can we release a split CD with you guys? Well, go ahead if you want to do it. And so there's been, popping out some weird split tapes and split CDs and four-way CDs and cassette-only releases and in many parts of this planet.
Yeah.
But it's I suppose
awesome
we have
thing
like that way.
Was to accomplish the split with Armageddon. It was like a unbelievable that happened.
Sure. Yeah. You asked what are our favorites. That's definitely like a
why was that your favorite?
Well, Otto, what do you think?
I think because it's with Armageddon, and we got to know Javier and the guys, and we share a lot of stuff together now, and Javier came here to meet us and record with us, and it really started some good cooperation.
It's a really special friendship, I think, between Armageddon personnel and us. We share a very good bond.
And our most important influence as well.
Yeah.
So, when you get to make a split with your biggest heroes, it's kind of, a dream to come true.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's very, very special material by Armageddon.
Yes, it is.
We didn't know that they have anything else released, anything else recorded but the LP Silencio Funebre. But then we got in touch thanks to internet. We found each other, and we found out from Javier that they actually recorded in the late 80s, 89, I think,
Yeah.
a demo tape, rather crude production, but awesome, brilliant songs, and we were immediately, we must make a split with you guys with this real material. And actually, that's where this what's this third-rate combat core band joke comes from, that you were probably referring to in the beginning of this interview.
Yeah.
Because when we were offering this split LP, well, there was a label from USA, from Minneapolis, a friend of mine again, Kerry from Sin Fronteras Discos. He was one of the Profane Existence crew, and he was gonna make a split for Forza Macabra. He was so much into the idea. Then I sent him the material that this is Forza Macabra, and let me present you. This is Armageddon. We're doing a split with them. You can release it. He was like, bloody hell, guys, I will not release this. I'm sorry. That you sound like, no, not you, but Armageddon. They sound like some third-rate
Garage death metal.
garage
Oh
death.
my
All right,
gosh.
yeah, some really weird description. And then I think there was another friend of mine from the USA who also turned the project down. Was it Jack? I think it was Jack, actually.
What a mistake.
Then,
Yeah.
exactly. It was a mistake, a grave error. Yeah, but then one more label from the US, 6 weeks. Then
Yeah.
I didn't know them before, but I knew they had a solid reputation being a good underground label. So I sent them an email, I think, or a letter. I just asked for it, and they heard the tapes and they were really like, "Wow, this is great. Let's do it." So then it finally happened, but it was delayed for another year, maybe because of this hassle with the labels.
Hmm.
But it came out in the end, and we are really happy. That's definitely one of my dearest releases by any of my bands ever that I have been involved with.
So
It's
when you do a split, like who gets to pick what's on the cover? Because I thought it's a little bit of a diversion for you on Just Another Day in the Cruel World. I think that's a historical photo on there of
what's
the
that, please?
bodies on spits.
Yeah.
Which one?
For
Which?
it was the split for Another Day in the Cruel World. It was like it looked like an actual photo of like bodies on some kind of spits or spikes.
Another Day in a Cruel World. It's a translation from some title. What could that be? That doesn't ring any bells.
I was just curious who gets to pick kind of the covers, or is it kind of a group decision when you're doing a split?
Well, sometimes we don't get to pick the cover at all.
Ah,
Sometimes it comes from the label or it comes from the other band who has proposed the split for us. They might have, everything ready.
Right.
They're just asking for the music from us. I think the Scarnio split, that artwork, that was by a Brazilian guy, was it not?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he took our ideas and drew it. The guy. Yeah.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. So that was definitely a collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah, our idea, but somebody in Brazil made it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
how about that Armageddon split LP cover? Who drew it? It was this Polish.
Kojo.
Yo. Okay.
Were you able to see any of the Brazilian bands back in the day, like Overdose or Ratos de Poreo live? Did you get to see any of them?
Back in the day, what do you mean? In the 80s?
Yeah, in the 80s.
No, but when we were in Brazil, we definitely saw many of the old great bands like Chacal. Lobotomia.
Armageddon. So many times. Yes, Ascarnio as well.
Yeah. And we saw all the metal guys from Sao Paulo when we hung out. Cholera, Corsus. Yeah.
Oh, I know Corsus. Yeah. Okay.
Did they give you any kind of feedback on what you were doing? Were you able to meet and talk with any of them? And were
Yeah,
they stoked
they're
on your
really
efforts?
supportive, really
Yeah.
stoked,
Cool.
right? Really taken by our stab on Brazilian music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
a friend of mine's in a band, and they wanted to do some kind of a Spanish tribute, so they recorded a song. It's an American band. They recorded a song in Spanish, and they were playing it live. And afterwards, this couple people came up that were from Brazil, and they said, "Oh no, not Brazil. They were from anyway. They spoke Spanish. I think they might have been Mexican." And they said, "What you're singing makes no sense at all. You know that, right?
Mm.
It's terrible." Oh yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
they
I
just
would be
want.
afraid of that, you know. So
Yeah, yeah, they just wanted to insult. It seems.
it was mean. Yeah.
I always say that how many bands sing in crappy English, so
Yeah.
why couldn't you sing in crappy Portuguese or whatever? Learn something during the years, but it's still crappy.
Yeah.
When you actually go to
Well,
write
it's maybe
lyrics,
broken,
what
yeah, but
language do you start out in? Or is it
I start
Portuguese from the get-go?
when I write. I try to start in Portuguese phrases.
It's
But
probably gotten easier over
many of
over the years.
the other guys write. They are translated.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we just mold them enough that they fit in the mouth, and then we hear what's wrong there and what's wrong there, and it's fun. Funny.
did you or did you not try AI for writing lyrics also
I didn't
for Portuguese or not?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah.
That's a
I
whole
was just
nother
thinking about that one
controversy.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many people are just so anti-AI these days. Like you got to prove your artwork isn't. You got to, it's
Yeah. Of course. I
crazy.
mean,
Well,
but
how can you
it
prove
can
that?
be great fun.
How can you prove that you didn't use a at some point?
Yeah.
Because I think Shakal was using AI, like when he wrote the lyrics in English for me. He was having some ideas, and then he wrote, and then I will translate them, and then we go from there. Yeah.
So I would love to get my hands on that VHS called The Dirty Years of kind of like your live performances. What performances did you choose to include there? I guess it was some highlights. And why did you call it The Dirty Years?
I suppose it's an homage to the Ratos de Porao, this dirty and aggressive Cada Dia Mais Sujo Agresivo LP. Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe it just came to me. I think I was behind the stupid name. Probably. Probably. Yeah.
120 minutes of bizarre and horrible footage.
Is that so? Yeah. Yeah, I still have the VHS.
It'd probably be great.
But you know, but then there's also DVD. That's a very limited. Only 20 copies were ever made, because back then DVDs were so difficult to like manufacture, copy.
Yeah.
Nobody had these DVD burners. Anyway, there was a friend of ours who was working at some place that had a DVD burner, and he was doing there like 20 copies. And we made these kind of nice cases. And I don't know where they are nowadays, those DVDs, but I know, besides me, I know at least one guy who has. I don't know if Otto has one. Maybe not. But
Maybe.
yeah. Anyways, this just came to my mind because the DVD, that's not just 120 minutes, but that's like a full DVD. It was a 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
but the footage, it's more or less very crappy.
Yeah, it's like VHS shows.
Like it was at that time.
Maybe
Just
get
a
it on one of
curiosity.
the streaming platforms. That
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Netflix or Tubi or one of them.
Yeah. I don't know. Back in the day, there weren't a lot of the live albums that came out like in the 80s for these thrash bands weren't very good. I mean, like the that Dark Angel Live Scars wasn't very good. It just didn't
No.
seem like it translated to live very well.
Maybe it wasn't recorded.
Only Under Siege is the only one I can think of that I thought was really awesome.
Yeah, I think maybe they were made to fill up some contracts or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I felt that way too.
For
Contract-
I
live
usually-
albums, you go for Black Sabbath Live Evil or something like that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
really sounds good and not just the crappy sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like that sonically, just in the 80s, they couldn't get the right sound for thrash, to sound good live, So,
It's too polished.
yeah.
I felt it was too cleaner sound.
Yeah. Well, we play a game on the show, and I think you guys are going to like it. It's called Blaspheming Monikers, okay? And here's how it
Blaspheming
works.
monikers.
Yeah. So it's
Sounds
5.
awesome.
I have 5 band names in front of me. One is fake. So I want you guys to try to guess which one of these is not a real band. Okay. Okay, I'll run through them and then you guys take a guess and then we'll just keep going until you get it right or we run out of band names. Okay. Okay. Hog Slammer, Hog Demon, Hog Mountain, Hog Breeder, and Hog Tooth. Which one of those sounds fake?
What
Hog
was the
Demon.
second last?
Hog Demon was fake.
Second last was Hog Breeder.
Hog breeder,
Yeah.
like farmer.
Yeah.
That's a good name. All of those are.
I say that one is fake.
All right.
Well, Hog Breeders actually they're real. They're from Florida, death metal, 1 EP. So
One EP.
yeah, 1 EP.
When was that released?
I didn't write it down. Sometime in the mid 2000s, I think. So Hog Breeder. So that leaves Hog Slammer, Hog Demon, Hog Mountain, and Hog Tooth.
Okay. And Hog Demon was not correct, right?
Oh, Hog Demon is right. Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the
Okay.
fake one. Yeah. All the other ones like Hog Slammer is from Delaware, Hog Mountain's from Alabama, and Hog Tooth is from Nova Scotia. So
Lots of hogs in America.
Maybe
That's pretty good.
Halifax. Is it from
Halifax.
Halifax?
Halifax, yep.
Have you seen
Oh.
the film Siege? It's
Uh-uh.
also called Citizens Patrol from the early
Uh-huh.
80s. This kind of a action-packed night movie.
Okay.
It's about a police strike in Halifax. It's a
Cool.
great little film. You should
Yeah,
definitely
I'll have to
watch
check
it.
it out.
Siege.
I bet we'll be able to find that somewhere.
Yeah.
So I did notice your recent posts kind of indicate that you're in pre-production at the studio. Is it Baraka Chaka? I'm going to kill that. Chakla?
What?
So what kind of phase are you in for your recordings? And would this be an EP or a full length?
We are aiming for full-length
Okay.
album. We have a lot of material, but we are just putting together the songs. Then we would need time to practice it, if that ever happens. And then, well, we were maybe quite optimistic that we could record within 1 year. Let's see. But we take our time. There, good stuff coming.
Yeah, I feel it's
like
coming.
when we
It's coming
started this
sooner than
band.
later.
When we started this band, we did everything in like that. It's done.
Yeah.
But now we take also time and think about a bit how it should sound and what are we trying to do.
I guess, like you said, it takes some time to put it together, like arranging the stuff. And then when we have the idea ready, then practicing it is the easiest part, and playing, maybe recording is even the easiest part. But the closer we get to the goal, the easier it gets. That's how I see it. But this is still, where I'm looking from is we are still a little bit far away.
Yeah.
But it needs a couple of steps, and then we can start make quick progress, I feel.
I'd like to see some of this stuff played live during the next year or something. So it helps.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sure.
How often do you guys get together and rehearse? Do you guys get to, is it regular basis or?
No.
Yeah, it's regular basis, once in 6 months, I would say. Isn't it?
It's very regular.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple
It's
of
like we
times a
are
year.
from 2 cities. Yeah.
Okay.
There was a time when we all lived in capital area, Helsinki area. That time we practiced quite regularly, but now it's always a thing. How do we arrange that?
Yeah.
I think we were really in really good form as a band, like 2 decades ago, when we
Yeah.
were practicing every week and playing a lot of shows and
Yeah.
touring
I-
also quite extensively. We're in really good shape. Like
I was trying to figure out if you guys were from Baltimore, if you had ever played the Maryland Death Fest, but I couldn't find evidence that you had. Had you?
no,
We have played Baltimore, but not
Yeah.
any fests. No.
not the Death
That's
Fest.
cool.
No.
I didn't know you guys had been here. That's great.
Yeah, I was thinking they're so into legacy bands now. I was like, I was hoping maybe they would ask you guys to come.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give us some help.
Ah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know how that process works because they'll sometimes a band will get back together that hasn't played together for 20 years just to play at Maryland Death
Mm.
Fest. So I wonder
Mm.
who contacts who. Like, how does that? I don't even know. I really don't know. So
I'll put you guys in they have a
we have nothing to do with it.
no, but they do have a website and I'm always suggesting things as far as that. But I think you guys would fit in great.
I do too.
Like when Severe Torture played here this year, it was
Yeah, I
great.
suppose so.
Yeah.
I've heard many good things, and some Finnish bands have played there. I think Reverend
yeah.
Bizarre went there,
Yeah.
and some more recent bands for sure.
Yeah. Well, we interviewed Shade Empire. They're from Finland, right?
Mhm.
Shade
Who's that?
Empire. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think we interviewed them last year. Their last album was really good.
Lots of videos.
Lots of videos. Yeah. Well,
Do you remember what was the place in Baltimore
No.
with Forca Macabra? Or with
Some
who?
kind of bar, but I don't remember.
Maybe Otto Bar.
How long ago was it? Like what year? About?
2007 or something like that.
It was
That
probably
was
either
retro.
either the Otto bar or the side bar.
It was with Ben driving, right? From Drop Dead, that tour, Kuolema and Forca Macabra.
Yeah.
That was in Baltimore.
Yeah, it was all Otto bar and side bar back then, and had to be one of those two, I would think.
Because Baltimore Soundstage and Metro, I think,
They
are more
didn't. They
recent.
weren't around. Maybe Ram's Head. That was around, but I don't know. So
Or the
Bloody hell.
time.
a
It's
long
all
time
blank.
ago.
in my head.
Yeah.
No, usually I have some kind of even vague recollection of the place or some people or
Yeah.
bands, but Baltimore, that tour, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think we did Philadelphia before that, and that was at the Disgraceland,
Yeah.
the Squatted
Okay.
House.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was actually ill there. I had high fever.
You probably had a better crowd in Philly, though.
What's that?
Yeah, I said you probably had a better crowd in Philadelphia, though. They come out up there more than we do here. So
Right. Yeah. Well, that was an excellent show. Really.
yeah.
Probably the best or one of the 2 best gigs on the tour
It's cool.
that time. Philly has been usually good when I've been there.
Oh, we like
A lot
it
of
there,
kids
too.
into metal and thrash and hardcore punk.
Really great shows. Well, we hope to see you guys back on this side of the pond.
At some point.
Maybe next Death Fest. Maybe just stopping by.
And let us know when the new album is done or EP or whatever it is, and we'll be happy to listen to it and review it. Yeah.
So what's
Cool.
that thing that you did review of AquO Inferno? What you didn't? Did you?
We haven't uploaded it yet, but here's the record.
So give us the review.
We will.
Okay.
Yeah. As soon as I upload it, I'll send you the link.
All
Okay.
right.
It's
Very
quite
good.
funny.
That's
That's like
bootlegging.
That's like, that LP was recorded like 2004, wasn't it? Not. It was 2004.
Yeah.
The story behind that album is that We started
yeah,
in Portugal 2003 to make a split LP with Subchaos, but that didn't happen. Then we wrote more songs and recorded in 2006, I think in Helsinki, and it came out 2008 finally. It was a long project as well.
It's a good example
Yeah,
of how slowly things
like 5-6 years. 5-6 years in the making.
I love
Yeah.
the cover,
No
that
hurry.
green. Like, what is?
Yeah.
How did that artwork come around? Like,
Mm.
what is that? It's
It almost looks like
are
little
those cobras? What is that?
tendrils.
Yeah, I don't know.
They are space snakes
Okay.
or space snails or space slugs, but definitely something spacey.
Okay.
Well, that's a friend of mine from Japan who did the cover artwork, and I asked him to do something as much influenced by some prog rock early 70s, this kind of psychedelia,
Oh, okay.
fantasy. I don't know how do you call it, that kind of artwork, but it's fantasy for sure. And well, I think I gave him like a setting, space, foreign planet, have there some bright colors, bright stars, twinkling stars, and some bright lights and bubbles and
And
this
monsters.
kind of.
Yeah. It turned out.
Yeah,
turned out really
I
good.
wasn't asking for monsters. I think I was asking for snakes probably, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that those things don't look exactly snakes. They would be almost anything. Could be
Yeah.
you or you. Or
By
you.
the way, is that correct that the European pressing, the cover is more like yellowish and
It's
the US
pink,
pressing is
pink
green?
yellow. It's a different coloring. He did two times the piece with like a pen, yeah, and then he colored two different versions. One is that Black Water and one is Agipunk. That's an Italian label who's been releasing some stuff for us as well as supporting us quite a lot over the years at one stage.
That's
Great.
awesome.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.